Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pert.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today?
Good.
How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio.
Welcome to First Contact Radio.
To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poet. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. He'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. He'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have
arrived. To demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand the truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Today is the 29th, right here, 29th of April. So we're almost to the end of the month here. Okay, we could see that we have a moon sign today in Taurus. We moved there yesterday. And our sun sign is also in Taurus. We have double Earth, just like yesterday. We also have a solar eclipse that happened today. It's already over. And let's see. So the solar eclipse already over, pardon me. I'll show you a site where we can look at that in a moment. We also have a trine today between Pluto and the moon sign Taurus. Okay, and then from the moon sign Taurus, so the trine there between Pluto and Taurus, what we have is understanding, deep understanding. So Pluto, deep transformation. We also have a trine going on here between Neptune, or excuse me, that's also Pluto and Mercury. So communication, so transformation in the way we communicate, learning the things that come from underneath to help us to understand. Remember Pluto's deep transformative actions, because if you think about Pluto's being way, way out there, that's the idea of where the deepness comes from, deep out in our unconscious. Okay? So that's what we're dealing with today. If we go over to our numerology, today is a 4-tone day. Here's a 4, how we arrived at that. 4 plus 2 plus 9 plus 2 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. All of that adds up to 22. You could leave 22 just as it is because it's a master number. Or some people do reduce it down further. So in that case, I'm going to show you the 4. This is the 4 here, and what the 4 is all about. We know that it's about the Emperor because we certainly dealt with 4 quite a bit last month, being Aries with the Emperor. 4s are about order. The Hebrew letter assigned to the tarot card He means he who sets in order. It's also one of the names of God, Yod-He, Vod-He. So the He is implied within there. Here's the 4. The Emperor putting things in order. Aries, leadership, organization. Okay, so that's what we're at today. So if we go over here to look at all the things we're dealing with, we have our Emperor walking the path from wisdom, what we've learned, to the heart. We have the Taurus right here, also dealing with wisdom and learning to be merciful and humble with that which we know. Doesn't mean being walked upon. That's one important lesson. We're not to be walked upon, but humility is important. And then, of course, our moon sign is also there. So wisdom and what we're learning is a big important factor because we have these two paths coming out where we are at the moment. If we go to our current moon phase, we can see we've got a new moon today. New moons are new beginnings, starting things fresh. Here we have for today, Tuesday the 29th, a new moon exactly at 2:14 a.m. The partial eclipse of the sun occurs for Australia, and the eclipse is annular on the horizon forbid at Antarctica. Okay, so just had the eclipse earlier this morning. Those who are looking to see, here's a website over at space.com that has information about this here. We don't need that right there. Hold on a second. Okay, here we go. Here's our rewind from our eclipse. Let me see if I could find where it was. Okay, we can kind of see this was from the Slooh. You can watch it. It's a 2-hour and 26-minute broadcast. You can go through to see the sun. And of course, it wasn't seen by in North America. It was seen down in Australia. Okay, you see the chunk taken out as it got started. Okay. So pretty cool, as you can see. Alright. So, flip through this here. You can definitely get some good views on what was seen by when you saw the sun today, or anybody who's looking at it. Alright, so there you go. That's the link available for that. Space.com. This was from the Slooh. They have a project that they do, which is charting the sky and showing all of these great celestial events live. Okay, and the Mayan Oracle today would be a 12-tone day. 12-tone day is called the Crystal Tones of Cooperation. Today is the Dragon, guided by the Skywalker. So is the Crystal Dragon, guided by the Skywalker. The phrase is, I dedicate in order to nurture universalizing being. I seal the input of birth with the Crystal Tone of Cooperation. I am guided by the power of space. We are winding up the wave spell of the dog, which is about the heart, love, loyalty. Spaceweather.com solar wind is at 273.8 kilometers per second. Planetary K index is in the quiet range. Nothing in the much coronal holes. M-class flare possibilities at 15, X-class at 1, geomagnetic storm activity. Gets up to the 30s in the high latitudes, down in the 20s in the mid latitudes. And on the Jewish calendar, today we are at 29 Nisan. 29 Nisan, Omar, day 14. Okay. And there you have it. That gets us started for today. UFO news is up next. Let's get to it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today, our first story takes us over to Mexico. UFO caught by astronomers over Mexico, said to be self-propelled. Okay, there's our object in question. Flaming object that was recorded falling to Earth in the skies of Ibiza has baffled locals with an assortment of hypotheses ranging from UFO, meteorite to space junk. According to Diario de Ibiza, whose website has a video of the object seen last Wednesday, also includes a missile launch being among the possible alternatives. The amateur recording shows a white, luminous body crossing the skies before disappearing behind a mountain with any signs of an explosion. A spokesman for the Ministry of Defense, after watching the video, dismissed the likelihood of the military vehicle, suggesting that it might be a fragment of a spacecraft or a section broken off a launcher as it re-entered the atmosphere. Members of the Agrupación Astronómica de Elvisa, quoted by the source, discarded the meteorite hypothesis because of the object's angle, leaning towards the possibility of it being a man-made device. Ignacio de la Cueva, a member of this organization, reported that the telescope at Cala del Hort has captured the object at an odd trajectory as the object changed course, which could only be explained if it was self-propelled. Experts are confident that other Spanish observatories detected the unidentified object to triangulate it to learn more about its size, altitude, and possible crash site. Okay, so very interesting there. Next, we go over Belgium on the 25th. Says this interesting daytime footage of some kind of disc-shaped UFO flying near. The plane was recorded in the sky above Belgium on the 25th. What do you think about this footage? Real or CGI? And of course, we have to ask that question because in this day and age, people can fake things pretty good. And what we're said to see here is okay, we're going to see slow motion here. Again, see it real quick right there. It happens very, very quickly. Right there. Okay, and it's going to just pop out of the cloud right here. Boom. There it is. So, do you think that's real? Or do you think this is a CGI? So that's what's good about this. We get a lot of eyes looking at something so that we can figure out what these things are. Alright, here is a witness films UFO from jet bound for Atlanta. This looks like the same thing here. My name is Andy. I'm a former U.S. Navy Airedale flyer. I was on a flight from my home in St. Thomas, USVI, to Atlanta, Georgia. Back in December 13th, I hadn't flown for several years, and being excited to go home, see my family and friends. I was randomly taking videos of the clouds and ground. Yeah, I know, corny. Bear with me. I didn't realize that I got home from my vacation 20 days later. I was watching all my videos, revealing pics that I had captured something that I cannot explain. It's very large and seems to be moving from left to right in the midst of the screen. It was a great distance away, I'd say 20 miles. It had to be miles across to be visible at that distance. Okay, so we got a 3-minute long video here, and you can see there it is in the distance, it looks like, if that's it. Okay, let's see if we can maybe see that again, slow motion. Okay, you can see something out there. Okay, see that right there? It's something you would normally expect to be seeing. Since I have flown with the Navy and all over the Caribbean for many years, this is simply a huge object. I posted on Facebook to some close friends and thought it was exceptional. The reason I'm sending this to you is I happened to see a show on H2 UFO Hunters today, and 2 different photos seem to have the same thing I did. Alright? It's very interesting. Good shot. Good capture. South Africa, Johannesburg, low-flying UFOs. A witness in Johannesburg, South Africa, reported watching 3 silent, low-flying triangle-shaped UFOs move overhead, according to a 27th of April testimony. The witness was outside observing the sky just after 9 p.m. on the 23rd when the object was noticed in the belt of Orion in the sky. Its triangular V-shape was apparently only due to the thin V-shaped wisps of cloud engulfing its flanks, the witness stated. The inside borders of the cloud were straight and clearly defined. The craft appeared to be quite low and sped directly across the sky, disappearing behind tree line in my garden in a northerly direction. Its altitude, speed, and direction were constant. There was absolutely no sound. Witness went outside an hour later or so, looked up and see the exact same occurrence as if the video had been looped. Within seconds thereafter, the solid triangular craft in light blue on each corner appeared from the same area and followed the same flight path. This craft was very different to the first 2. It was very clearly defined and obviously solid. It flew at a much higher altitude and seemed to be somewhat further than the first lot. The witness is considering that the appearance of the 2 known craft might be involved. 2 things I felt are noteworthy. First, after each of the 3 craft flew over, an aeroplane happened to fly over. And secondly, the dark helicopter with the searchlights circled the sky above. closing, I have thus never bothered posting any of these numerous sightings I've experienced, but I feel as if this high time we South Africans started talking about and sharing these experiences. I'm convinced that the reporting of such events will greatly contribute towards a growing movement of consciousness and awakening. Okay, good question, or good comment. It will indeed. Alright, this goes back to Apollo 18 photograph. Source photo link right there. Interesting looking images. This unique anomaly was found in an Apollo 8 image. It shows a massive black octopus-like object between the Apollo 18 craft and the Earth. I do believe that the object seen is actually much closer to the Apollo 18 craft, causing the anomaly to appear larger than it actually is. There's a lot of objects in this photo, but to see them, you might add brightness to the photo. This photo seems so odd that I feel it could be faked background with the Earth superimposed in it. It's really hard to tell because the octopus-like object has textures to it, like the bark of a tree trunk. Very strange one. Okay, so there's that weird looking thing. So check it out. Check out Scott's video here. It's 3 minutes 56 seconds. See what you think. And here's one more. This is about Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla communicated with Martians in 1901. Goes on to say, 1893, Kirk's soap ad, capitalizing on popular interest in intelligent life on Mars and showing the openness of life on Mars, reality in American life. Okay, people, Mars is people. Look at that. Okay, and here we have January 16, 1901, the light flash from Mars. Professor Pickering at Harvard Observatory today said earlier in December received from the Lowell Observatory in Arizona a telegram that a shaft of light had been seen to project from Mars. Okay, here we go. There is substantial documentation of Nikola Tesla's role as an early pioneer in re-establishing a 1901 public exopolitical communication between our earthling human civilization and an intelligent civilization on Mars, most probably our human cousins known as Homo Martians. Termis. Homus Martis Terris. Public Earth, Mars, exopolitical communications had most probably been served since the solar system catastrophe of 9500 BC that greatly damaged Mars' atmosphere and its surface ecology and destroyed Earth's great maritime civilization. Nikola Tesla's early work in re-establishing interactive communications with an intelligent Martian laid the foundation for the U.S. government's secret DARPA time travel and teleportation program from 1968 to 73 that employed Tesla-based technology, and ironically, perhaps for the secret Mars jump room program that was initiated in the early 1980s that reportedly employed gray extraterrestrial technologies. So very interesting. There's more to the article here. Enough to perk your interest. There you have it. That is our UFO news for today. I've got more information coming up. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
Another alien visitor claimed that his race had been looking in on us for centuries, and that they had in fact influenced the course of human history in some rather critical and startling ways.
Listen up. I am myself, and I am someone else.
Alright, let's continue on here. Continuing on. Alright, so last week I introduced the Hebrew alphabet to you. This week I want to introduce you to another alphabet. This is the Latin language. You certainly hear about Latin use in the church. Well, let's explore this a little bit, shall we? Welcome to the Latin language website. Here you'll find useful resources to help you understand the Latin language better. Latin is an ancient language that was officially adopted in only one country, Vatican. It has no native speakers. However, most of Western countries had influence of this language due to the Roman Empire. So by learning Latin, you'll be able to understand many other languages. Not only Latin-derived languages like Spanish, French, or Portuguese, but you'll be surprised to know how many words from Latin exist in English, German, and other. From the history to useful Latin quotes, we're trying to offer a general overview of the language in order to give you a way to get started in Latin learning. We do not aim to write all about Latin language, but we do want to hear from you, your suggestions to improve the site, and to offer you the content you consider more useful. For a quick start, please see our Latin words section. Just after, you can take your first steps into grammar, but it's just an overview. If you want to take it more seriously, you have to study many years. The Latin literature is another interesting source of information, as well as Latin slang. And if you're a teacher, please visit our Latin teaching resources pages. So, let's delve in a little bit more here. Let's go look at, let's see, well, these are Latin words. These are some words that we know: January, February, Februaris, Mars, Aprilis, Maya, Julius, Augustus. Okay, days of the week: Solus, Lunae, Martis. Alright, so let's just jump from here. Let's go look. Let's go look at what we got here. Latin dialects. As a living language, Latin underwent a continuous evolution and was open to influences from other language. This was particularly true for the spoken language of the uneducated, which already in ancient times incorporated terms derived from Greek, Celtic, and later from Germanic languages. It is a Sermul vulgaris, which spread throughout the heavily Romanized parts of Western Europe, such as Gaul, though it appears to have coexisted with other languages, especially Celtic. Celtic seems to have disappeared from northern Gaul by the 5th century and was later reintroduced by refugees who fled to the continent from the invasion of the British Isles by the Angles, Saxons, and the Jutes. In a less thoroughly romanticized northeastern regions of the empire and in the territories beyond the Roman frontiers, Germanic languages were spoken. These included Frisian and Saxon, along with Western Germanic languages and dialects spoke by various nations. In the period of the migrations, the languages of the invading nations introduced a stronger element of linguistic diversity into the territory of late Roman Empire. Especially widespread was the Gothic language of the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths. The Gothic bishop Wulfilas was responsible for preparing a translation of the Bible into Gothic, which remained current among Arian Christians, considered as heretics by the Roman Church, but active for several centuries, especially in Visigoth Spain. As a spoken language, Gothic disappeared between the 7th and 9th centuries, but Wulfia's Bible translation remains one of the first major documents of Germanic literature. In Gaul, the Latin Sermul vulgaris incorporated elements from several other languages and came to be known as the Roman or Romanic language. It was so thoroughly established that the invading Germanic nations generally adopted it as their own language. Its general acceptance is reflected in the fact that beginning in the 6th century, the homilies of the Church Concilius held in France were translated into it. By the 8th century, Charlemagne prescribed that sermons should be delivered in the popular tongue, while other parts of this liturgy remained in Latin. Nevertheless, even in Gaul, the language spoken in different regions never became homogeneous. Distinct dialects coexisted with separate languages, the most important of which was Provençal. Broadly speaking, beginning in the early Middle Ages, two groups of dialects emerged in the territories roughly divided by the Loire. In the south, the language the Ak remained more closely linked with Latin, whereas in the northern language, the Oil was more strongly influenced by other languages. The terms used to describe the two groups of dialects derive from the respective words to express yes in each. A similar development took place in the German-speaking parts of Western Europe between approximately 500 to 700 CE. In the north, a group of dialects emerged which are collectively known as Low German, while the southern dialects are referred to as High German. As in France, the ascendancy of one group over the other began much later, in the 14th century in France and in the 16th century in Germany. Ancient literature and learning along with Christian texts were preserved in manuscript, books that initially were produced as much the same way as books had been in earlier centuries. The lettering followed the letter forms and the conventions of the Roman writing or forms of writing directly derived from it. Beginning, however, in the 7th century, more sharply differentiated national book hands developed in the various parts of Europe. The so-called insular scripts used in Ireland and Scotland beginning in the 7th century differed considerably from the Visigoth hand that was common in Spain and from the Benevician hand that was developed in southern Italy. In Frankish territories, the Merovingian scripts that were used in the 7th and 8th centuries were during Charlemagne's reign replaced by a newly developed hand, in part inspired by reference to Roman writing and known as the Carolingian minuscule. Fine manuscripts are often carefully decorated with illustrations known as miniatures or by elaborate ornamental lettering such as that found on the Lindisfarne Gospel and in the Book of Kellis. Okay, this little info there. Let's see anything else here. Ecclesiastical Latin. Ecclesiastical Latin is different from the classical one, mainly by the introduction of new idioms and words, both in syntax and literary method. Christian writers are not so much different from other contemporary writers. These differences are due to the origin and purpose of the ecclesiastical Latin. Originally, Roman people spoke the old tongue of Latinum, known as Prista Latinus. In the 3rd century BC, Ennius and other writers from this school of Greek undertook to improve the language with Greek elements. This attempt was encouraged by the aristocratic classes in Rome, and it was these classes that poets, historians, and literary writers of Rome addressed themselves. Under the combined influence of this political and intellectual aristocracy was developed the classical Latin, which has been preserved in good purity in the works of Caesar and Cicero. Most part of Europe, of Rome population in their native ruggedness, remained distant from this Hellenizing influence and continued to speak the old tongue. After the 3rd century BC, there existed side by side in Rome two languages, or rather two idioms, that of the literary circles or Hellenists, Sermo-Urbanus, and that of the illiterate or Sermo-Vulgaris, and the more highly former developed, the greater grew the chasm between them. But in spite of all the efforts of the purists, the exigencies of daily life brought the writers of the cultured mode into continual touch with the uneducated populace and constrained them to understand its speech and make it understood them in turn. So they were obliged in conversation to employ words and expressions forming part of their vulgar tongue. Hence arose a third idiom, the Sermo Cultidarius, a medley of the two others, varying in the mixture of the ingredients with the various periods of time and the intelligence of those who used it. Alright, obviously a lot more information here about the Latin language. This just kind of gives you a brief history of the language itself. You can see it's very interesting how it is a language that did separate individuals based on intelligence, because it is a language that definitely has a lot to it. That's why it's not really spoken out there and so common. But perhaps we'll delve into this more on a week-by-week basis, look into this a little bit more. But what I want to delve into now is another book. Okay, the last 5 Tuesdays, I've introduced to you and have briefed through the books, The Life and Teachings of the Masters of the Far East. I hope you had a chance to read through those books. If you haven't, please go back, look at the Tuesday shows. The PDFs are there, and you can just download them and read the books. If you've read through the books, you know what I'm talking about. I think it's one of the best series of books that I've ever read, and I think if you look through them, you'll certainly agree if you haven't already. What I want to get to today is another book that has a very big significance on what's going on in the world. This book here is a big, thick book. It's It's called the Urantia book. Okay, Urantia book. So I thought I'd delve into this for a while. Okay, so let's go and let's see what we've got here. We've got read, study, download, search, listen, buy, and watch. So click on the read. The text conforms to the Urantia Standardized Referenced Text Committee 2008 recommendations. Okay, you've got all the chapters here, and as you can see, there's a lot, 196 chapters. Okay, so if we go up to the very first one here, let's just start to brief through and see what we have here. Gives us a little bit of intro here. Let me see if we can just go right to the first one. Just jump to chapter 1. The Universal Father. Actually, it's called paper 1. The Universal Father is the God of all creation, the first source and the center of all things and beings. First think of God as a creator, then as a controller, and lastly as an infinite upholder. The truth about the Universal Father had begun to dawn upon mankind when the prophet said, "You, God, are alone. There is none beside you. You have created the heaven and the heaven of heavens. With all of their hosts you preserve and control them. By the sons of God were the universe is made. The Creator covers himself with light as with a garment and stretches out the heavens as a curtain. Only the concept of the Universal Father, one God in the place of many gods, enabled mortal man to comprehend the Father as the divine creator and infinite controller. The myriads of planetary systems were all made to be eventually inhabited by many different types of intelligent creatures, beings who could know God, receive the divine affection, and love him in return. The universe of universes is the work of God and the dwelling place of the diverse creatures. God created the heavens and formed the earth. He established the universe and created the world not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. The enlightened worlds all recognize and worship that Universal Father, the eternal maker and infinite upholder of all creation. The will creates the universe. The will creatures of universe upon universe have embarked upon the long paradise journey, the fascinating struggle of the eternal adventure of attaining God, the Father. The transcendent goal of the children of time is to find the eternal God, to comprehend the divine nature, to recognize the Universal Father. God-knowing creatures have only one supreme ambition, just one consuming desire, and that is to become, as they are in their spheres, like him, as he is in his paradise, perfection of personality, and in the universal sphere of righteous supremacy. From the Universal Father who inhabits eternity, there has gone forth the supreme mandate: be ye perfect, even as I am perfect. In love and mercy, the messengers of paradise have carried this divine exhortation down through the ages and out through the universe, even to such lowly animal origin creatures as the human races of Urantia. This magnificent and universal injunction to strive for the attainment of the perfection of divinity is the first duty and should be the highest ambition of all struggling creature creation of God's of perfection. This possibility of the attainment of divine perfection is the final and certain destiny of all man's eternal spiritual progress. Urantia mortals can hardly hope to be perfect in the infinite sense, but it is entirely possible for human beings, starting out as they do on this planet, to attain the supernal and the divine goal which the infinite God has set for mortal man. And when they do achieve this destiny, they will, in all that pertains to self-realization and mind attainment, be just as replete in the sphere of divine perfection as God himself is in the sphere of infinity and eternity. Such perfection may not be universal in the material sense, unlimited in intellectual grasp or final in the spiritual experience, but it is final and complete in all finite aspects of divinity, of will, perfection of personality, motivation, and God consciousness. This is the true meaning of that divine command, be perfect, even as I am perfect, whichever urges mortal man onward and beckons him inward in that long and fascinating struggle for the attainment of higher and higher levels of spiritual values, the true universal meanings. This sublime search for the God of universes is the supreme adventure of the inhabitants of all the worlds of time and space. Of all the names by which God the Father is known throughout the universes, those which designate him as first source and the universal center are the most often encountered. The first Father is known by various names in different universes and in different sectors of the same universe. The names which the Creator assigns to the Creator are much dependent on the creature's concept of the Creator. The first source and the universe center has never revealed itself by name, only by nature. If we believe that we are the children of this Creator, it is only natural that we should eventually call him Father. But this is the name of our own choosing, and it grows out of the recognition of our personal relationship with the first source and center. The Universal Father never imposes any form of arbitrary recognition, formal worship, or slavish service upon the intelligent will creatures of the universe. The evolutionary inhabitants of the worlds of time and space must of themselves, in their own hearts, recognize love and voluntarily worship him. The Creator refuses to coerce or compel the submission of the spiritual free wills of those material creatures. The affectionate dedication of the human will to the doing of the Father's will is man's choicest gift to God. In fact, such a consecration of creature will constitute man's only possible gift of the true value of the Paradise Father. In God, man lives, moves, and has his being. There is nothing of which man can give to God except this choosing to abide by the Father's will, and such decisions, affected by the intelligent will creatures of the universe, constitute the reality that the true worship, which is so satisfying to the love-dominated nature of the Creator Father. When you have once become truly God-conscious, after you really discover the majestic Creator and begin to experience the realization of the indwelling presence of the Divine Controller, then in accordance with your enlightenment, and in accordance with the manner and the method by which the Divine Sons reveal God, you will find a name for the Universal Father, which will be adequately expressive of your concept of the first great source in the center, and so on. Different worlds and in various universes, the Creator becomes known by numerous appellations, in spirit of relationship, all meaning the same, but in words and symbols, each name standing for the degree, the depth of his enthronement in the hearts of the creatures of any given realm. Near the center of the universe of universes, the Universal Father is generally known by the names which may be regarded as meaning the first source. Farther out in the universe of space, the terms employed to designate the Universal Father more often mean the universal center. Still further out in the starry creation, he is known as the headquarters world of the local universe, as the first creative source of the divine center. In our nearby constellation, God is called the Father of the universes, in another the infinite upholder, and to the east the divine controller. He has also been designated the Father of lights, the gift of light, and the all-powerful one. On those worlds where a paradise son lived a bestowal life, God is generally known by some name indicative of personal relationships, tender affection, and fatherly devotion. On your constellation headquarters, God is referred to as the Universal Father, and on different planets in your local system of inhabited worlds, he is variously known as the Father of Fathers, the Paradise Father, the Havona Father, and the Spirit Father. Those who know God through the revelations of the bestowals of the Paradise Sons eventually yield to the sentimental appeal of the touching relationship of the creature-creator. Association refers to God as our Father. On a planet of sex creatures, in a world where the impulses of parental emotion are inherent in the hearts of the intelligent beings, the term Father becomes very expressive and appropriate name for the eternal God. He is best known, most universally acknowledged on your planet Urantia by the name God. The name he is given is of little importance. The significant thing is that you should know him and aspire to be like him. Your prophets of old truly called him the everlasting God and referred to him as the one who inhabits eternity. Okay? See, let's go on a little bit more. God is primal reality in the spirit world. God is the source of truth in the mind spheres. God overshadows all throughout the material realms. To the created intelligence, God is a personality, and to the universe of universes, he is the first source and center of eternal reality. God is neither man-like nor machine-like. The first Father is universal, spirit, eternal truth, infinite reality, and Father personality. The eternal God is infinitely more than reality idealized or the universe personalized. God is not simply the supreme desire of man, the mortal quest objectified. Neither is God merely a concept, the power potential of the righteous. The universal Father is not a synonym for nature, neither is he natural law personified. God is a transcendent reality, not merely man's traditional concept of the supreme values. God is not a psychological focalization of spiritual meanings, neither is he the noblest work of man. God may be any or all of these concepts in the minds of men, but he is more. He is a saving person and a loving Father to all who enjoy spiritual peace on earth and who crave to experience personality, survival, and death. The actuality of the existence of God is demonstrated in human experience by the indwelling of the divine presence, a spirit monitor sent from paradise to live in the mortal mind of man, and there to assist in evolving the immortal soul of eternal survival. The presence of this divine adjuster in the human mind is disclosed by three experiential phenomena. 1. The intellectual capacity for knowing God, called God consciousness. 2. As a spiritual urge to find God, which is God seeking. And 3. The personality craving to be like God. It's the wholehearted desire to do the Father's will. The existence of God can never be proved by scientific experiment or by the pure reason of logical deduction. God can be realized only by the realms of human experience. Nevertheless, the true concept of the reality of God is reasonable to logical, plausible to philosophy, essential to religion, and indispensable to any hope of personality survival. Those who know God have experienced the fact of his presence. Such God-knowing mortals hold in their personal experience the only positive proof of the existence of the living God which one human being can offer to another. The existence of God is utterly beyond all possibility of demonstration, except for the contact between the God consciousness of the human mind and the God presence of the thought adjuster that indwells the mortal intellect and is bestowed upon man as a free gift of the universal Father. In theory, you may think God is the creator, and he is the personal creator of paradise and the central universe of perfection. But the universes of time and space are all created and organized by the paradise cores of the Creator's sons. The universal Father is not the personal creator of the local universe of Nebadon. The universe in which you live is the creation of his son Michael. Though the Father does not personally create the evolutionary universes, he does control them in many of their universal relationships and in certain of their manifestations of physical, mindal, and spiritual energies. God the Father is the personal creator of the paradise universe in association with the eternal Son, the creator of all personal universe creators. As a physical controller in the material universe of universes, the first source and center functions in the patterns of the eternal Isle of Paradise, and through this absolute gravity center, the eternal God exercises cosmic over-control of the physical levels equally in the central universe and throughout the universe of universes. As mind, God functions in the deity of the infinite Spirit. As Spirit, God manifests in the person of the eternal Son and the persons of the divine children of the eternal Son. This interrelation of the first source and center with the coordinate persons and absolutes of paradise does not the least preclude the direct personal action of the universal Father throughout all creation and in all levels thereof, though through the presence of this fragmented spirit, the Creator Father maintains immediate contact with his creature children and his created universes. Okay? I'm going to leave it right there because that's a lot to contemplate. This book is very, very big book. We're certainly not going to get through all of this book unless we were to focus probably on doing this for 1 year straight. There's so much information in this book, but we'll breeze through it, and perhaps it'll be enough to inspire you to want to keep going and reading on your own. Okay? So there you have it. That is the book of Urantia for today. I'm going to make that a regular thing for a little while to keep learning from, because I think that's a fascinating book that we can all learn a lot from. All right, let's jump over. This is an article from In5D. Michelle Welling. So what is the ego and how can we transcend it? The ego is a third-dimensional tool our human body uses for identity and protection. As we move towards the fifth dimension, some say we need to get rid of it. Some say that we need to tame it. And some say we should love it. What actually is our ego and what should we do with it? The ego's job is to protect us from keep us from knowing who we are in the veiled experience of the third dimensional incarnation. It has been termed the lower self compared to aspects of the oversoul which exist in higher vibrational dimensions. The multidimensional selves, when we come into this lower body, we knew that we would forget who we were as part of the experience of lower dimensional existence. The ego is not who we really are. It is your self-image, and it is not even the image the way others see it. It is a mask of approval. It wants to be in control, and it is driven by fear. It is partially responsible for not allowing you to love yourself 100% because it hides who you are. Identifying why we have this lower self and the aspects of it is essential into the awakening process of ascension. Removing this veil sheds more light upon areas of ourselves that need healing. In order to get to the core of the self, we have to begin peeling the layers of the mask to reveal what lies beneath. A shadow self is a part of the alter ego, and facing it is called going through the dark night of the soul. Part of the ego's job is to allow other parts of your soul to come forward to be healed in this reality, because we cannot take this part with us into the higher dimensions due to the law of vibrational attainment. The goal is to heal all of our lower energies and become whole again in a higher vibrational existence. Facing our shadow self can be a frightening experience and is probably the number one fear of all individuals. When you are ready, the third eye mirror meditation is a good way to see the different multidimensional aspects of yourself, just by acknowledging that they are part of you, but intending that they be healed and integrated into your heart space. Light is shed in the shadows, and a new way can be fully and finally achieved. Our subconscious mind is connected to Source. Our conscious mind, ego, sometimes feels the opposite. For example, if a person has a life-threatening illness, the ego may be in fear of dying, whereas the subconscious mind or higher self knows that there is no real death of the energy that is your soul. As we planned, at a trigger point in our life, we began to awaken to the fact that we are multidimensional souls having a physical human experience. When we realize there is a higher aspect to us that we are tethered to, the ego begins to fear that it will lose its identity. Part of the ascension up the spiritual ladder is to lose the ego and to expand your consciousness to focus on the higher aspect of yourself. Eventually, we strengthen this connection with our higher selves and our oversoul. We will not need the ego's identity or this third dimensional experience anymore. However, to completely lose it would defeat the purpose of living in physicality right now. Instead, we can work with the ego to help it lessen its hold on that veil that shelters the truth from us as we continue to move towards being able to handle the truth. In order to lose the ego, it is important to first recognize that it was a very necessary component of our spiritual awakening process. Having an identity other than what we really sparked on a deep withdrawal into needing something more in order to fulfill ourselves. This led to trying to fulfill ourselves with other things over and over until we realized that there was nothing that would fulfill us but love for ourselves. At this point, we owe our ego a big round of applause for getting us to the breaking point from searching for answers outside of ourselves. Gratitude is necessary in order to release the ego of its job that it was created for. In order to work with the ego in releasing of its duty, thank your ego out loud for its stellar job it did of providing identity during the veiled aspect of your consciousness in a third density expression. Let it know that now you wish to explore the higher aspects of yourself and and that you need to work together to allow this to come forth in your reality, even if that means you will need to eventually step aside in order to let your higher self take the wheel. Part of the taming of the ego involves reversing the programming that we received as part of the societal living. If the ego is the lower aspect computer, then programming is the software. It is time to uninstall the software that keeps us in the illusional lower vibrational reality. So here are a few programs that can be reversed with awareness and intentional. One, to stop being offended. We get offended a lot down here, don't we, about all the things that are said. Let go of the need to win. Let go of the need to be right. Let go of the need to be superior. Let go of the need to have more. Let go of identifying yourself by your attachments. Let go of your reputation. So some people need an ego more than others. Determining how much ego you wish to allow to shape your identity is still a personal choice. For example, there are great spiritual teachers who speak in front of thousands of people that need to have some ego in order to give themselves the self-confidence needed to be in the public eye. Many musicians need some ego to be able to perform time and time again in front of people. This is why it is better to work with the ego rather than to tell it to take a hike, and each day may require more or less ego than the next. Getting to know yourself involves getting to know all lower and higher aspects of yourself. In order to keep yourself anchored in the physical body, some lower aspects might need to be retained until our bodies take on light body forms. It is good for the shadow energy to emerge and to be present so you can transmute any energies that will not pass through the eye of the needle as our cells change from carbon-based to crystalline-based. The gradual process of holistic integration involves awareness and recognition of the tools that our bodies have gifted us with in order to complete the job of ascension. Our egos can be seen as a tool in awakening to what we are here now to do, as it presents us with the opportunity to see what we are not. Ultimately, by forgiving ourselves, loving ourselves, and letting go of judgment of ourselves, the ego naturally bows out, and the higher aspect of ourselves naturally shine through. Alright, so there you go. So that's some good information there, all about the ego and what we do with it, how we work with it. Best thing in all situations is learn to work with your ego. It's part of you. You can't get rid of it. It's like getting rid of a part of yourself. But you learn to work with it because we have these egos for a purpose, to help us to evolve. So we want to learn how to use them better and better. Alright, let's jump over to our message for today. This is from Ezekiel. Message from Ezekiel. There we go.
Isabel, age, April 28, 2014.
Dear child, you must let go of everything that does not serve you, because it will weigh you down and leave you weak. If you do not let go, you will feel tiresome, exhausted, and eventually you will be left with an eternal longing, always freedom seeking, but never free. Therefore you should let go and live.
So how should we do this?
By accepting what is, and to be happy for what you have instead of longing for what you want and feel you do not have. Instead of hoping it goes well, know that things are going well now. This way you can escape the fear and longing. Therefore, dear child of the stars, let go, receive your new challenges with the knowledge that you would not be given these if you were not able to master them. You would not put others down by saying that they cannot manifest what they desire, so why do you doubt yourself? You cannot deny your own creative power. For this exists deep inside your core, and what exists will always exist. You are ready to receive the gifts of love and happiness from the light of your universe, but you can only receive these if you believe that they are eligible, so let go, dear. Accept what is. This will bring you much joy and a lot of new experiences you will not soon forget. Finally, know that we want to assist you and point you in the right direction. You are ready to help others, but keep yourself in light first. Take in others only when you yourself are in harmony with what is. Take only the souls in of who can give you more peace in your day and in your life. By this we mean that when you want to help others, you must help yourself at the same time. Let go of trying to invest your energies in those who will not take in balance. Give to those who are willing to take in your courage and words of love, and leave the rest until they are ready to receive the balance of light. They will come in time, they will see what is hidden behind the invisible veil and seek truth of themselves. With that said, your heart is of crystal, and if you can do good deeds without discharging your own energy completely, then by all means do it. Share your love, light and joy, as long as your giving energies do not seep into the sand, as long as it propels you forward and not back, as long as it makes you feel good and not bad. We send you much love and applaud for your progress. Your clear crystal heart will show you the true way. Your guides are with you at all times, and they want to lift you, help you, heal you, and love you. So let them. Receive them with open arms. Surrender to the universe of infinite love. Much love and light to you, Ezekiel.
Alright, very nice message from Ezekiel. And that brings us to our meditation for today. So close your eyes, take a deep breath, and exhale. Take another deep breath, and exhale again. Breathe again, deep breath in, and exhale. And keep breathing in and out. And contemplate the words of this affirmation. I breathe freely without constraints. My energy flows without care alongside the wayward winds. Just continue to breathing in and out without any constraints, and feel your energy. Feel the energy that flows in and out as you breathe. Feel this energy as it recycles through your body, going through all of your chakras. Imagine it going through each of the chakras, starting at the bottom of the spine, red, orange at the belly button, yellow just below the rib cage, green at the heart, blue at the throat, indigo at the third eye, violet at the crown chakra, and then it continues on. And just feel all this energy as you breathe in and out. Feel this energy circulating through your body. And as you allow this energy to circulate through your body, imagine the idea of love. Think about love and all the ways in which love manifests itself in your life. Think about how much and how important love is to life. That your body is healthy and whole because you love yourself, because your body loves itself enough that it stays together. So love connects things and brings them together. And as you imagine this love circulating through your body, imagine all of your cells vibrating and smiling as this love energy channels through. Imagine this energy flowing out into the world around you and filling your home environment with this loving energy. And then imagine this energy flowing out from your environment out into your neighborhood, spreading out further into the entire city, and then into the state, and then into the country where you live, and then across the ocean, and across to the other countries, until this love encircles the whole planet. And imagine love absorbing down now into the planet, and the planet smiles, and actually see the planet Earth with a big smile on her face. And then send this love up. Imagine sending it up into the cosmos, and see a smile coming down from the cosmos. Feel the smiles coming from all of our space brothers and sisters out there. And as you go through the world today, just imagine yourself walking in this place of love. And as you walk in love, you find the trust you need to be able to let go of that which is holding you back. Imagine yourself holding on to something tight. Imagine the winds blowing very strongly and you're holding on to a railing. And you hold on so you don't get blown away, afraid something might happen to you if you let go. And eventually you do let go, simply because you cannot hold on any longer. And as you let go, you find absolute freedom. You find that letting go is the thing that has freed you up. So instead of being tethered to that railing, you are now able to fly free, experience more of who you are and what you are about. So allow yourself to go through this day feeling love and feeling the freedom that exists when you allow yourself to fully embrace the love around you. Let's keep that term love in our mind's eye and in our hearts as we travel through the world today, and just silently send it out to others we meet. Let's go ahead and bring our conscious mind back to the present moment, while this unconscious mind continues on its journey of love. 3, coming back to this present moment filled with confidence. 2, coming back to this present moment filled with faith. And 1, coming back to this present moment happy, healthy, and whole. Go ahead and take a deep breath. Exhale and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's our show for today. Thank you so much for being here. Check out the links. Look into the Urantia book. It's a big, thick book. Lots of information there. And just keep on keeping on. Have a good day today. Keep loving each other. Keep thinking good vibes. And I'll do the same. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace. I'm out of here.